Well, hello people, and welcome back to episode 62 of Rannoch. I hope you're having a wonderful day. And indeed, probably from the title of today's episode, you can tell that this is going to be our last build episode of Rannoch. The city has really wrapped up the last few weeks, and I now feel that I'm just eking more out of the map that probably doesn't need to be done. I'm pretty happy with it how it is. However, there are still some loose ends, which is what today's episode will cover. There is a dead arterial over here that needs to be turned into an outside connection and have something built around it. And then we also have one in the town of Bariskan, up here in the hills, that needs to come up to something atop said hill up here. And then of course, there's also some bits I want to add into current densified areas, some assets that haven't been included that I would like to feature before the city is done. And then some further renovations. I want to bring this out of a tunnel and bring it onto a mountain road. So a little bit of network renovation as well. I think it should be quite a lot of fun for us. But either way, following this episode, there will be an enormous cinematic send-off premiered on the channel if you'd like to join us for that. So make sure you are subscribed and have notifications on if you don't want to miss it. It will be pinged quite far in advance, so a bit more information on that towards the end of the episode. But for one last time, let's dive back into Rannoch and tie up those loose ends. So over by this outside connection on the straight, I think this would be an excellent candidate for an outside connection because it should give some nice access to the tunnel straight. We can't get it down too flat just because of some height map. That's okay though. Over there looks like it might work. With the 81 tiles mod, you can now draw your own outside connections in. You did need to use another mod for it, but 81 tiles now allows for it. You didn't know, you can tell it's an outside connection when you see that blue arrow that you can just about see through the fog. So off here, I think immediately coming into Rannoch, or indeed out of the straight tunnel, a little gas station, a highway rest stop is going to be pretty tasty, isn't it? And there's a natural sort of, I guess, descent in the land here. So I think this would be quite a nice spot for a little pullover place. And there's one more, if you can believe it. Just our luck. Japanese asset, which probably make the best gas stations in my opinion for seeing this one. This is what we'll do here. So for our land to come up to probably there, right, we'll follow that natural little gully. And then we'll grab a road. Something with no parking on it. Then we'll bring this down here. Then as it comes in, I think we'll switch into perhaps something a bit more landscape. Quite a fancy pullover stop here. If anyone's ever been to T-Base services on the M6 in the UK, it's quite an upmarket service. Very nice surroundings. There's a lake there, lots of mountains, forests, etc. T-E-B-A-Y. Sure, Editing Egg will leave up some Google Earth footage of it. But let's grab that asset. So we'll have our last Japanese one, which is the ramen restaurant. And then that is it. That is all of the modern Japan stuff used. And then we'll have this out here. I'd also like the vanilla gas station to spawn in, so we'll do a couple of these. I'm pretty sure they're 4x3, aren't they? I'm pretty sure they are. We'll also have our road come up through the middle. And I think there's one last asset from the... Yeah, we've not used the human Sherpa statue yet. Which is probably a good thing, because this asset is absolutely terrifying. Something there, and then I wouldn't mind some other general attraction plazas around it. Sort of place where people can sit with their packed lunch after buying it from the service station, you know. So plazas with tables is pretty much exactly the vibe I want. Keep trimming back this hillside here. I don't want the roads to start bending up against the edge of the assets, and that's perfect for me. Then let's not make it all concrete. Let's try, for the last episode of Rannoch, avoid endless airport apron. I think Rannoch has had the most amount of airport apron from any city, I'd probably say, right? We've really used it so much in this build. Just some light tree work through here. And then just come into Park Life. Grab ourselves just a couple of those circular wooden tables. Yeah. And we've also got that pathway along there too. A couple of bins. Maybe a light or two here as well. Cool. I actually wouldn't mind saving one of these supermarket assets. They are of the vibe. Although I don't want two of them, so we'll let another one regrow. Cool. So just a really small collection of assets out here. Nothing massive, but should just make a nice little believable waterside space, which I think we will actually also bring in some keys. One last chance to use the vanilla key, if I can remember where they are. There we go. So I've had a lot of people ask me what is going to happen post-Rannoch. Obviously with CS1, especially vanilla, just beginning to gain so much less interest these days, which is understandable. You know, the game is 10 years old now, and there's just not that many people watching it like there was 5 years ago, which is something I have to factor in, unfortunately. As much as I wish I couldn't, I do have to follow where the views are. So in terms of this type of vanilla, where we're playing with the forest brush and the line tool mainly, we will be using more mods next episode, next series, such as Move It, the Intersection Marking Tool, Node Controller. The more popular realism mods, if you want to describe it that way, I think is the best way to say what that next series will look like. It'll likely be after I've moved house now, so it's not going to be immediately after Rannoch. But keep your eye out for information on that on the channel, community tab, and in the Discord too if you're interested in keeping up with the CS1 content that we make here. Otherwise, it doesn't really apply to you if you're just watching these series as a one-off, right? Of course, any service station isn't complete without some decent car parking configurations. And we'll grab... Let's have one there. Cool. And I might use a bit of airport apron. Just... Can't help myself, just to tidy up some of those edges on this side, really. Yeah, there you go. Just brush those edges together. And then we can add a couple of little trees in here too. I've thoroughly enjoyed Rannoch. You guys will have to let me know in the comments of this episode as I read it back as the last one. Pre-cinematic finale, of course. How Rannoch stands in your ranking of the overcharged exit if you've watched many of them. Just let me know what you favour. Cool. This is a nice little area, this now. I'm happy with this. Just a little pull-off spot off that highway now where we can see people using the outside connection as well. I might even just add, because this turn here is quite tight, I might add a little one-directional non-parking road for them coming off there. And then let's definitely bring lots of little landscaping up this road. Probably straight up to the highway. Have some bushes. But for me to answer that question, just to come back to talk about Rannoch, it's I think possibly my favourite now. Because I love Boreal so much, I think it definitely surpasses Orchid Bay. As much as I loved Orchid Bay. It wasn't Boreal. So Rannoch wins on that basis alone. But yeah, you have to let me know what you think of it. Have you enjoyed it? I hope you have. If you're still watching, you know, nearly 5 minutes into episode 62, I'm assuming you are. No, thank you for the support on the channel as well over that time. We've grown exponentially. There's 100,000 subscribers in the last 12 months as well. So continuing to make these builds and cities and stories that we tell together over these 12 to 2 year projects, it's always such a unique experience on the channel, so thank you for the support. Very lucky to be able to do this for a job. But thank you for supporting it, really means a lot. But how horrific is Human Chirper, right? This lady's coming to take a look. And immediately had enough. She walked straight over that. She's like, nope, not stopping to observe. But there it is, right? Horror incarnated. This is it. No one wanted Human Chirper, but there he is. Cool, so we can get some extra details in around here. Might even do something with this road with some extra assets, but we now have a base little service station by the water here. And hopefully when we come back, this second marketplace will be the gas station, which will complete the aesthetic. Let's head to the opposite side of the map now. You guys had some wonderful suggestions quite a while ago now, during the Angel Hills build, that we should have taken this road as a coastal winding road around the foot of the mountain and bring it in probably here. Which does make the tunnel obsolete, but I think I'm happy with that. I think I'd rather have it as the coastal road running around. So let's get this terraformed. And then here, alongside this new national road, I'd really love a proper sort of wind-swept, battered by the elements look. So we'll go with some nature reserve fencing. And we'll occasionally break this as well. Maybe just sort of indicating wear and tear. But you would totally imagine, right? Which is a bloody great drive, isn't it? Right, what a view from here. But if you're taking the whole thing to the left as well, right? The whole edge of the strait now is just totally civilized. You even see the observatory from a couple of episodes ago. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Can't see Shaflantic City from here, can we? Yeah, we can actually. Yeah, these towers over here are Shaflantic, which is really cool. You can see that. Fantastic. What's that? Yes, my original point. You imagine this road and its accompanying fences and trees would be pretty battered by the winds on the strait and the exposure to salt water, etc. So, don't anything too fancy. Little broken strips of nature reserve fencing. All the way down. Thankfully we've got the node count to count in something like this. I'd also like to continue with softening out a lot of the edges here too. Maybe even widening this creek a little bit. And then just picking out little bits of height, because it looks quite obviously terraformed at the minute, doesn't it? It's a little bit raw. So let's grab a height and just pull out these little stretches of land. I'll probably do something similar with the mountain ridges as well. There's a bad one here. Yeah, this is probably the biggest offender here. Just looks very clean terraform, doesn't it? So what we will do is just grab some random terrain lines and try and eat into the mountain a little bit. Yeah, we can. All different heights as well. And then a bit of soften should help clear that out. Sort of reintroduces a couple of more natural looking ridges I find. So these little lands now that we've just drawn out, let's just give them a brief soften. Just so it adds a bit of randomness to the shoreline, I think, you know. I might see lots of overgrowth around these. Rock formations will also go very nicely here too. And then once you've got those bulk rock formations in, with these little valleys that appear, just want to run the Rannoch forest brush on basically any exposed green terrain here, where maybe some of our trees have managed to take root on these very steep slopes, and then run that back into the town. And with the town engine too, just got plugged into the road that was here by the waterfront, and then added a new one in. We also need to clean up the tunnel entrance too, which isn't needed anymore. And then with this, we will probably just hit road guideline and curve, I reckon should work now for this. And we could possibly expand the back of the train station. I'm pretty sure they do actually walk on these, don't they? They will use the back of this seaside resort station. By the way, if you want to get the last save file of Rannoch, it will be available in the video description after this episode if you want to come and get it. To explore it for yourself, you do need every single DLC to load it, by the way. Because I have used networks from all the DLCs, and the city will not load with missing networks, so if you want to load in and it isn't doing it, that's why you need literally all the content packs, or at least all the ones that introduce a new network. Which is pretty much all of them, to be honest. So that's why, if you're wondering, because I know someone will get stuck loading it in without all the DLCs. So let's have a little road behind the station here, and then let's bring up just a little connection. I'm pretty sure they do walk on this one. I'm not sure of it. And then we can bring this down and around. Let's slope out that little layer we've just done. Something like that. If anything, I think today's episode will be a really kind of fun tour of some new areas that need tying up like we looked at the start, but also revisiting old areas like Angel Hills that, you know, have new things happening to them still. Very cool. Developing a nice little layer here too, aren't we? With the national road sweeping down. And then let's stick some car parking here. Right, so always a cool aesthetic with a train station. And then I'm not averse to a bit of commerce. So let's just have some base stuff grown in here. Allowing that forest to take back over where the tunnel once was. In the deep mountains here. And just soften out that mentalness there. There we go. That's much nicer there, isn't it? And then we'll do maybe a little more landscaping on the way up into the station road. Even if they don't walk on it, we'll still keep this little bit. Maybe a few oaks between here and the station. Airport apron won't work here, will it? Oh, it does. Of course. Of course. Okay, well let's line that up with the main building then, shall we? Yeah, that looks nice, doesn't it? And then we'll have just some basic trees there, I think. We're also getting a little bit of Green Cities commercial, which I'm not averse to. Don't mind that. And we're getting non-green cities over there, that's fine. And then we'll do one more pathway here too. Let's have... No, we won't. Do we really need to be near the end? Can I can get you to connect, actually. It will. Okay. And did you just walk in from that side? I missed that, didn't I? Oh, I hope you did. I'm going to historical a lot of this level 1 stuff as well. Don't want to get into upmarket and fancy, and that's a pretty nice arrangement there, isn't it? Actually, next door to the car park. I'm happy with that immediately, actually. Don't actually have a train line running to Angel Hills, an internal one that is. That's because there is no passenger train infrastructure this side of the strait at all, is there? We really have not used any train stations down this line. It's all intercity. Which is a little strange in hindsight. I'm not sure why we never really developed any stations on here. We could do that today. What are the opportunities for one? Certainly in and around the train station, the airport, sorry. And then, yeah, there's one here as well, isn't there? You also don't have a train line either, do you? Have we deleted a train line? I feel like I'm missing trains. Maybe I never did just draw that in by the train infrastructure over here. Okay, we'll have a look at that. I'd like at least one internal passenger train this side of the line, I think, running in. Probably two. Actually, I'm quite happy to keep it long haul. I might run it from Angel Hills Airport and then South Shales down the other end of town. Maybe that's what we'll do with that. So this is a much cooler way to move people back into Angel Hills, isn't it? Really love this coastal road. Much more personality for the coast here. And now heading back over to Bereskin, where we have pretty much what is a pretty big moment for the city, actually. Almost like the last unconnected, unfinished road of the entire project. Let's bring this up the valley. And somewhere here, we do have the water outlet, which is hopefully filling the river now, after last episode. It was the other one, wasn't it? It still breaks a little bit, maybe another water outlet. But there is another water outlet here. So I think at this point, would just be a nice drive spot, right? A couple of car parks up here. People can come and pull over for the night and enjoy the sunset over the city, right? Just a nice, simple park viewpoint to round out our final mountaintop here. Let's bring the forest away. And then with that water outlet, actually, I would love to try and include one of the caves if the vanilla collision will play fair with us. Which of course it won't. So maybe we can cheese this in. Let's have a couple of them hiding it, if you like. So let's make sure we leave the game playing too so the water doesn't freak out. And then one behind, as close as we can. That's actually not too bad at all, is it? And then maybe on this perspective we can create like a little funnel for the water, like a natural bottleneck in the rock. But in the right angle, I think that's a much better way to blend in a water outlet, isn't it? Granted, it's quite a violent underwater spring. Oh no, there you go. It's not happy, is it? Oh no, the river is reversed, everyone. The river has reversed. That's not good. Clearly, the bottleneck is too tight. Let's see if we can just open that up a touch. Something like that. My rock work reversed the flow of the river. Oops. As long as that works though, that should be okay. Yeah, that's much more convincing, isn't it? In fact, if anything, the water's almost submerged the pump, which is a very happy little accident. Fantastic. So let's make sure that the rocks don't block the viewpoint. We'll pick out a height of terrain here. I really enjoyed the last episode, you know, where we had all different ways and fun ways to use mountains. I think a lot of the time, especially in CS1 without extra landscaping tools, it can be quite easy to, I think, shy away from the terrain. But Rannoch has been probably the most mountainous of all the Vanilla Plus builds, I think, hasn't it? Buguzu was pretty steep, but that had a few more mods than Rannoch does. Definitely brings a bit more of a challenge into the vanilla experience, doesn't it? Wonderful. I like this. And then let's bring in some non-parking routes. We'll have this here. And then with our car parking configuration, of course, we only have this one in vanilla. I think I'll go for side-on. So at least this way people can park facing the city and enjoy the view from the inside of their car out toward the city. So sort of this perspective, right? If we can enjoy it for ourselves, might clear back a bit of this forest here too. Wonderful views across the city again from another one of Rannoch's mountaintops. You even see sail shells out there as well, or scale shells, isn't it? Or shell scales. I can never remember the name of that one. Observatories over here too. Castle in the distance. Very tasty. But like that, we'll have that there. We'll obviously have many more amenities up here too. And we can actually leave it open there because it's so close to the road it'll still remain connected. And for some reason, I'm perfectly envisioning the Railroads of Japan Plaza also present in here too. I mean, that's a really nice little combination to stumble upon in the last episode of Rannoch, isn't it? Isn't that wonderful? By deleting the roads, you can keep the car parks connected and just have a little plaza in between them. You could turn that into a really nice repeatable pattern in vanilla, actually. There you go. one final bit of inspiration for Rannoch. And of course, the final bear as well. How exciting. So with this, we'll also have some more amenities up here, cafes, etc. And then where we have this little slither of land as well, let's reform that. And then we'll bring out another little parking road, or non-parking road rather. So since playing CS2 vanilla, I really miss actual parking roads that are present in CS2 now compared to 1. I might get them for the next series, maybe we will play with some light assets. I don't want full custom assets, not like Dessia or Ilos, it will be the official pool, but maybe some. Just a selection of smaller parking roads maybe. Do a little combo pack here, we'll have carousel, playground, and some of those small little tourism parks. Let's have 1 and 2. And we'll not have basketball up here. It doesn't make a lot of sense, does it, with it being on top of a hill? The ball will probably roll all the way down. Same with the football. Let's just make these little playgrounds and gyms and whatnot. And we'll run a pathway through the middle. Let's just add some trees. Expand the tree palette that comes with the assets too. Let's add some little vanilla numbers in here. Let's grab ourselves a bench. That's made out of stone. And let's have a little row of benches that lines the views from this area. Probably not so much this side, there'll be more trees there, I think. And then let's grab ourselves a cafe from City Parks. Let's have you just here. Right. A little bit of fencing around here too, right? We've got the nodes to burn at this point. Probably farm fencing. And then just slightly below the benches, so this way they're not getting their views blocked by said farm fence. Almost just on the edge of the brown cliff texture, I suppose. And then just maybe where it slopes down a little bit too much, just pull it up tiny bit. Little tiny changes in the contour lines. Cool. Now just a wonderful little activity viewpoint for the citizens of Rannoch. Maybe they finish work on a Friday, right? They're working out in Shaflantic. They're like, should we drive up to Bariscan Viewpoint? I reckon that sounds like a good start to a weekend, doesn't it? Then of course, we have the tree count to burn. So lots and lots of dense Rannoch forest up here, right? Especially on these ridges on the approach up. Really want to make it feel like you're driving a long way, which is something we managed to do really well in Thessia, but I think in Rannoch that's also translated. The sense of distance has probably been the best of any of the vanilla builds, hasn't it? I think so, at least. Wonderful. Have we got anyone parked yet? Yes, perfect. And they're using the right side as well. I mean, I suppose they get a nice view from this side. It's just mountains and fog, isn't it? You know, park here. Oh, that forest is quite big, isn't it? It does kind of disturb the view. Maybe thin it out just a tiny bit, maybe. Just occasional splash, nothing too intense. And just to make it look a bit more overgrown, let's do some of the overgrown brush through it as well. Yeah. Perhaps more where meadow meets forest and grassland rather than pure dense forest. That's a bit better, isn't it? There's the car. There we go. So you can look left and see Sheffield City. See the airport on the dam. Of course, we have to check it out at night time, don't we? Fabulous. Even Professor X or Magneto has come up to enjoy the view. Even villains enjoy the viewpoints, don't they? Fantastic. There's a lot of people coming up for here, isn't there? Goodness gracious. Cool. So there's some extra details and props you can pack in this, and rock work as well around the edge of the cliff facing. But finally, before a detailing time lapse, let's move ahead and install some passenger trains between the southern towns, shall we? So there's one over here, wasn't there? I'm pretty sure it was over by Wesley. No, it was the next town, wasn't it? Honestly, you're losing track of them all. There's so many of them. So this spot here is essentially tailor-made for a train station, isn't it? So let's start our new line from here. And then when you look at that, the small Japan station just happens to perfectly slide along this bit of couplet, almost like it was tailor-made to be, right? But we'll have to change the approach angle of these train lines ever so slightly. We'll grab ourselves an airport apron. Let's see if we can just follow the back texture of that platform there, right? It's pretty seamless with that. So that's a train station for scale shells. I knew it was. I knew it was called that. Looking at a train station for Wesley, there's a possible point to get it in here. The road essentially drops down to couplet at this point. So I think as it actually passes through Wesley, we are going to upgrade it to normal road. Now bringing a road up. This is going to be a slightly out of town train station. We're going to go straight across here. And then possibly from here again as well. Now I definitely want these to be one directional roads here. So let's arrange for that. Right and left there. Very similar to what we've actually got over in scale shells, right? We're just using with 3 tiles wide here instead of 2, but it still works. Wouldn't advise it on main highways, but where we're dropping down into a quieter couplet on this district, it should be okay. The train station, I think, here, and then I would love to try and tie in. Let me go to the park area. Coleridge Hills is already a park area, isn't it? Well, that's perfect. Let me just grab that. I think what I'd also love this train station to function as is almost like a second entrance or a back entrance into the ski resort, so they can access it from the train station. Almost like it's direct tourist access for the ski resort, right? So we'll place it here. I think it's just a nice, tasteful, small, discreet rural station, isn't it? Nothing too big or intimidating about it. We will lose the bridge there, but that's okay. Let's just slope up from here. Let's also regrade the slope up to the station here from the town. We'll add some commercial, some of the little bits and service pieces around this train station too. And that just happens to align perfectly in the middle of the station, doesn't it? So that's wonderful. We're quite happy with that. And then with the back of the station, let's throw in airport apron like we did with the other one. So it has more of a, I guess, of a foundation to it. And the asset I'm picturing almost as like the back entrance into the ski resort is going to be the Nature Reserve Museum. And if we can line this up appropriately, probably want some terraforming work, but let's get a... Definitely wants terraforming work, but we can perhaps gain a sense of the asset combination. I don't hate it, you know. I don't hate it. For some reason, these Japanese stations just seem at home in the mountains, don't they? Push this back to accommodate the museum. We will need a pathway, of course, to hold this, so let's do... I don't want dirt path because we're near the station, so let's have a zoo pathway, which is at least a texture, but doesn't look too concrete heavy, right? And then we'll have our nature museum here, with those nature reserve pathways leaping from the zoo pathway up to the ski slopes here. So something not too dissimilar from this, once it's blended in, obviously with more props and fencing that we have over here. I also wouldn't mind bringing in a little level crossing, so then we can actually have car access to the ski resort side of things in case anyone needs to park here, or maintenance, emergency services, whatever access it is you want to pretend. Although there's a very weird little node convergence problem here, isn't there? And then let's use 2 car parks next door, and then we'll hook that zoo pathway, and then maybe another little nature reserve asset if there's one that's appropriate. Can't find one, so I think we'll just go with some restrooms, and then we can detail this up in our time lapse, can't we? Probably want to wrap up all the car parks in concrete there, actually. I think certainly some more important landscaping up the road. We'll definitely do a tree-lined road, and I wouldn't be averse to maybe bringing out some population here. I'm wary of placing living citizens so close to the highway. We do have population centres over here already, I suppose. And even with these roads in, it's still not that busy, is it? So maybe some residential out here in the time lapse. I'll see how the traffic performs. And a fancy tree on the way up to the station. And then I definitely want some commercial growing out here as well. We do have green cities this part of the city, which I would like to keep as Wesley train station comes in to the fray. And then let's get some commercial just facing. Tell you what, I'm going to remove zoning from this one, actually. That way I get my commercial facing the train station, and that should be fun. So let's get this train flowing. It's going to go from Shell Scales, stopping at Wesley. Real long distance passenger train this, and go all the way through to Angel Hills, and then mirror itself back, which will at least give some long distance public transport for the south side of the strait, the south side passenger line. Let's make this a pretty impressive train. Let's do a bullet train since it's quite long distance and only a few stops. Seems appropriate. Lots of people already waiting for the intercity as well. Still not too much load on this station either. And we'll enjoy a first person tour of that train ride, I think, come the end of the episode, all the way to Angel Hills. But either way, that feels like a good point for a detailing time-lapse. We'll bring the rest of this area together with Wesley. The service stop we did at first, some props up at the mountain village, and maybe some more coastal river detailing as we wrap up the loose ends of Rannoch with our final detailing time-lapse of the series. We'll grab ourselves some snacks and settle in, and then we'll be right back. Well guys, let's have one final detailing review, shall we, of everything that's happened. Our highway rest stop, we have named the RW rest stop after our wonderful patron, RW, thank you for always support me. Welcome to the patron, links down below if you're interested. Our gas station came in, just this asset right here, and it was 4x3. A lot of gas pumps always go a long way in vanilla, don't they? Next to an expanded sort of rest and recovery plaza, really, you know, a place where you can pull over, buy cheese, chopsticks, chicory or chives, and enjoy some time off the road by the Straits of Rannoch. And kind of a bit of a rocky canyon down here as well with the rocks in. A nice little rural national road side area, I think. I always love piecing together highway rest stops. Atop the hill, more fencing, benches and trees, just indicate the recreational vibes. Thankfully lots of people are parking here, especially in the RV, right? You can imagine these have come up to stay here for the weekend, haven't you? Get the best view in Rannoch without having to pay for a hotel room at the castle over there. And it is actually pretty busy up here. Props and fencing, more forestry all the way through the canyon on the way up from Boriscan, which I just want to check on the traffic because it is quite busy up there. But thankfully Boriscan seems to be holding it quite well actually. So I really love that town centre. Isn't that a nice alignment there? That's really nice. I love that shot. Really love the town of Boriscan. Of course, our first emerging downtown countryside combo, which turned out really nicely, didn't it? Little rural market, very nice. So this was a lot of fun up here. Brings purpose to that final dead arterial road. And then across this, we'll head to Wesley, right across the Straits of Rannoch, which is here. So I've added in a shuttle service, because interestingly enough, all the people from the train station up this road, which looks really nice, doesn't it? Love this alignment here. And with the green cities. So hopefully we can see the example. With people leaving the train, be it passenger or intercity, both are getting used. Yeah, so they're taking the bus. Well, they were actually walking down here. I'm sure you saw it in the detail time lapse. And because they're all taking the helicopter. Of course. The most overpowered method of public transport in city skylines ever made is the helicopters. They love it. But the bus actually comes and stops down here. There you go. So it converges with the helicopters and the ferry terminals that then run people back to the intercity and internal train station just as a bit of activity in Wesley. So it's nice to see this getting used, lots of people walking. And then the highway couplet that passes through in between these two areas has actually stayed traffic free, which is very nice indeed. I really love the angles of all the roads here. We kind of go from very straight blocks to curves and then back to curves and straight bridges. Some nice geometry things happening over here. And then there's just some basic detail at the back of the train station, some tables, bollards against the car parks, of course, into those plazas. It does sit quite nicely together, doesn't it? Thankfully the brown on the station kind of blends with the museum. And then people do have access onto that ski resort now. That we built a few episodes ago, and of course this is all interconnected with cable car. And that takes them up to further attractions if they want to use, admittedly, the out of season ski slopes. There's not much snow there at the minute. So this is a really nice addition to Wesley. A nice little walk out there, public transport, and finally nice to see some internal passenger trains running on this line as well. Makes it seem a lot busier, doesn't it? There we go. He's off to Angel Hills now, which you would have seen the first person tour, of course. I hope that was enjoyable. A lot of overgrown land and countryside, I'm sure, in that one. And then with the country road, more trees, forest and overgrowth, which is a much more cinematic drive into Angel Hills, isn't it? It actually feels like you're travelling that distance now. Out into the country to reach the rural towns and of course the disaster response, or the disaster refuge, I suppose, up in the hills there. Which all in all leads to a pretty fun and somewhat somber episode as we wrap up the last projects of Rannoch. As I mentioned earlier in this episode, an enormous cinematic sequence will follow this episode. They do take quite a long time to put together because they have to research all the music, film the cinematics of every single build from multiple angles and multiple times of day. They are just enormous projects. And as of the time of this video releases to YouTube, probably, I will be in the process of moving house. So it might be a week, 2, possibly 3 after this video. Just kind of poor timing, really. I've just bought a house and Rannoch is ending. So kind of awkward timing with the production, but I'll of course keep you updated on the Discord and on the community tab, so make sure you're checking those if you're interested in finding out when that is. It will be a video premiere, so come and join us for the live chat if you'd like to hang out for it. And then that will be it for Rannoch, and probably Vanilla Plus on the channel as well. As I mentioned, our next series that will follow Rannoch whenever that comes, we'll probably use some more realism, quality of life stuff. An enormous shout out to the YouTube members and patrons that support these videos, with a roll call to our golden patron eggs, Bad Wolf, Blythe, Casino, Great C, Jamin, Louis Adlam, Michael W, Phoenix ND, and Spartan Angel. If you want to get involved in that, links down to Instant Gaming and Patreon are below. Thank you so much for all of your support. I won't say too many emotional goodbyes here because we'll save that for our final episode. Either way, enjoy today's cinematic for the last time in an episode. And as always, enjoy the rest of your day.